I watched a Netflix Korean drama, Dr. Slump, recently, and there was a scene that really broke my heart. No, it wasn't a scene between the main couple, but a scene between the female lead and her mum. For those who haven't watched it, she's basically battling depression, and there was this scene where her mum broke down and felt so helpless because there was nothing she could do to help her daughter get better. And every time she tried, she just ended up making things worse. Hi everyone, I'm Melody and I'm passionate about normalizing conversations on mental health. Today, let's talk about the guilt that comes from being depressed. Depression can happen anytime to anyone. Check out my video at the end for signs of high-functioning depression. When you're depressed, you don't have the energy to do anything. It's like there's a dark cloud over your head, heavy weight in your chest, and sometimes even trying to keep your body propped up is difficult. I remember trying to cross the overhead bridge to get home one day and my legs just completely gave away and I collapsed on the floor. It took me a couple of minutes to find the energy to get back up. This is a common experience for people who have lived with depression. Hundreds of unread messages, the inability to complete basic tasks that are expected of you, being extremely sensitive and easily triggered by what other people say, even if you know that it's out of good intent. Like when they say,
Just be happy and smile more, okay?
sometimes even their sheer presence triggers you because you just want to be left alone.
Just go away.
And then immediately regretting it after snapping at them because you know that you really didn't mean it. It's a lot of guilt to carry, to know that your sadness is making your loved ones sad, that your incompetence is inconveniencing the people around you, and that you are a burden. And you know that it should motivate you to want to get better, but somehow you just can't find it in you. You just end up wishing that you didn't exist at all. And it's hella confusing. You wish that no one cared about you and just left you alone because you don't want to be a burden to anyone. You isolate yourself and push people away. But the truth is, you also desperately crave to be loved and understood and accepted for who you are. It's a never-ending spiral. But today, I want to share how you have the power to stop it. The first is to be honest about your struggles. About 2 years ago, when I was planning my wedding with my ex-fiancé, I remember feeling extremely horrible on one of the days. I had absolutely no mood to plan the wedding, even though we had set aside a day to do so. Instead of telling him how I felt, I spiraled in my own head and went awfully quiet. After repeatedly asking me what's wrong, I snapped and asked him,
Are you sure you want to marry me?
and obviously that didn't end well. On hindsight, perhaps if I had been more honest about my struggles that day, he would have been able to make space for me to recover rather than push me to keep planning the wedding. People who have not been through depression will not know how much we're struggling if we do not tell them. They will continue to expect you to show up for things and complete your basic tasks. And when you don't, they will naturally feel disappointed and not understand why. Be upfront about your struggles so that they can adjust their expectations and make space for you to recover. The second is to question whether your thoughts are truly accurate. I found cognitive behavioral therapy very useful when it comes to replacing old thought patterns with new, healthy ones. Let me give you an example. Let's say we're battling this thought that my family is better off without me. Now let's identify if this thought contains any form of distortion, all or nothing thinking, emotional reasoning, magnification of the negative, jumping to conclusions, fortune-telling, mind-reading, overgeneralization. Now I've realized that my single thought is filled with distortions, and the next step is to challenge your thoughts. I don't know for a fact that my family will be better off without me. I'm not them. I brought joy and happiness to my family before. It's only this period of time that I need a little bit more help and understanding. And finally, ask yourself, what's another way to think about this? Instead of thinking that my family is better off without me, which is full of distortions, let's reframe this to, I'm struggling at the moment and I know it's tough on my family, but it's only temporary and I know that they love me. And it would hurt them so much more to lose me. Your mind is so powerful, but you don't have to accept every single thought as a fact. It's not easy, but together let's slowly learn to reframe its thoughts and strengthen its muscles. The third is to reach out and not isolate yourself. This is completely counterintuitive for someone who is depressed and just wants to be alone. But when you're alone, it's so easy to spiral with all these negative and inaccurate thoughts. When you reach out, even if it's to one person, you'll see how much you're actually loved, cared for, and valued. But of course, reach out to the right people and not the toxic gaslighting ones that make you feel small. Lastly, I've said this before, be kind to yourself. Our bad days, our inconsistencies, our failures, they only make us human. Everyone has their fair share of good days and bad days when they need to completely rely on the kindness of somebody else. Instead of bashing ourselves, why don't we accept their kindness and offer it back to them on days that they might need it? And to those who are dealing with someone who is suffering from depression, my advice to you is to let them heal at their own pace. We know that you want us to get better as soon as possible, but sometimes it makes us feel pressured and not good enough. What you can do is to show us that you love and accept us for who we are, even as the current mess that we are. And on behalf of those who are suffering, we want to let you know how much we appreciate you, even if we don't say it. You're the reason why we're still living and breathing and fighting so hard to get better every day. Thank you for watching, and if you'd like to journey with me, please hit subscribe, and I'll see you again.